There we go. Okay, hopefully you can see that chart.
Yep, looks good.
All right. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about today. Now, Murray, I've got all of my photos of everybody over to the right-hand side of the chart, and if people are doing the same, they might find that the share screen is blocked. But I see on the top of that column of pictures, there are a number of tabs at the top. One is a very small one that reduces it, and one is a larger one where I can see a number of people at once. So if you're having trouble seeing this chart, you can look to those to that column of photographs and click on some of those bars at the top so you can see the whole chart. Okay. So what we're going to talk about today is, first of all, a little bit of a welcome back, just as an update on where we are as a group. I think we have 56 people now enrolled in our True North Caricature Carving group. It seems that we get somewhere like kind of around the 20-25 mark during at least the summer months that join us for these Zoom calls, but hopefully that'll change. And in the fall and winter, when it gets a little colder and we find ourselves indoors more, hopefully we'll get a larger group, and we'll see how that goes. We're going to start off. I'm going to come back to this with just opening it up to any questions that you folks might have or any comments that you might have in regard to the things that we've been working on. We're going to give Murray a little bit of time today, and he's going to just talk to us about some new things on the horizon for the Ontario Woodcarvers Association. And he's also going to try to pick your brains a little bit on what's going on in your areas. And the hope is to set up a really good communication link between us individually where we live and Murray, so he sees what we're doing locally, and as things open up, he's able to communicate that to others. We've had a number of projects to date, and we're going to once again do a little bit of a showcase of those projects. So a number of you have sent in pictures of the projects you've worked on, whether it was the head and face with the hat, or John's Christmas Santa, the stocking that we did, or anything that you've just done on your own. We're just going to take a look at those. And if you're interested in hearing some comments from all of us, including John and I, we'll just comment on your project. John is going to give us a little shop tour. So, it's what I'll say is this is Murray has been really good about putting our videos up on YouTube. We're not sure how we get compensated for when people view those videos, but we can tell you that Murray and I are still carving in our basement, and John has built a shop. So I want to know a little bit more about that. And then we're going to just talk about an idea. And the idea is to have a little bit of a friendly virtual competition and show in the coming months. We've done this last year with the Ontario Woodcarvers Association for carvings of all type, to have a virtual show. And the notion is, can we do that just amongst ourselves here in the True North Caricature Carvers in regard to just caricatures? So we'll talk about that as well. Okay, sound reasonable?
Yep.
Okay, let me just open it up then to any questions or comments. So I'll just stop the share here for a minute. Does anybody have any further? Eric had a few questions, good questions. Anybody else have any questions that you want to kind of tap into everybody on, or any comments on what we've been working on or what you'd like to see us work on? Just fire away.
Hey, Mark, this is Firdos. I have a question with regards to the bandsaw blade that you use. Like, what's the size of the bandsaw blade that you use? Because I was watching this Lynn Doughty's video, and he uses a 3/16 inch blade, a 4-tooth per inch blade. And I did call R&D blades today, and they also recommended to use the 4-tooth blade. And they do have a silicone blade, they said, that I can buy. So I just wanted to see like what you use to cut patterns and stuff on bands.
Yeah, and so I'm sure everybody will jump in here. I have a few blades. One is a 3/16 inch 4-tooth blade. A 4-tooth blade just means that it's a very aggressive blade. So it's great for cutting out patterns for a couple of reasons. One, it's really quick. It leaves a rougher cut. The more teeth you have, the finer cut you'll have. So if you wanted to do some nice woodworking, you get a real a high number of teeth per inch and you get a finer cut. The 4 teeth, you don't care because you're just roughing it out anyway. You're getting it off the bandsaw. The 3/16 is nice because you can get a real close radius on it, excuse me. And that's why Lynn uses it. You know, if you're used to using a bandsaw, if you can think back even to your high school days using a bandsaw in shop, sometimes you have to make a whole bunch of relief cuts up to the line you want to cut just so that you can clear it. With a 3/16 inch, you generally don't have to do that. You can just move around pretty quickly. Couple interesting things that I've found. First of all, you're talking to the right people in terms of your bandsaw blades. They're just terrific there. You know, they make a really nice blade, and I've had several of their blades. A couple of things that I've noticed on the bandsaw is when I'm cutting and I want to take a really tight curve on the bandsaw. One of the things that was suggested to me was actually grinding down the back of the bandsaw blade, because what'll happen when you're taking a tight contour is that really crisp 90-degree edge on the back of the bandsaw blade will hang up and drag on you. It sounds a little dangerous, but you can do it safely. If you turn on your bandsaw blade and just take a light grinding stone, you know, just a very light grinder, and just gently hold it on the back 2 edges of the bandsaw blade as it's running, that just gives it a roundness to it and makes it a lot simpler to make your cut. Right. Okay. The other thing that I noticed that I learned with bandsaws is that I was initially tightening that blade way too tight, and you don't need it very tight at all, really. You just need it so that the rubber wheel will drive the bandsaw blade. So I was way over tightening it, and I was breaking blades. So generally what I do now is when I tighten the blade, I'll make sure that, like, if I have it open, say 3 inches at the throat, I'll make sure I can move that thing like 3/16 of an inch either way. And that kind of tells me, okay, it's not over tight. I was over tightening it, and that was causing me to go through a lot of bandsaw blades initially. But I'm sure others will, who have more experience than me with the bandsaw will chip in here with the conversation.
Do you loosen your the blade a little bit, like to just release the pressure of the rubber tires if you're not using it? Because somebody was saying that if you loosen the blade a little bit, your rubber tires will last for a long time compared to if you just leave it on like tight all the time. Yeah, that's exactly the advice that was given to me a long time ago as well. So if I'm working in the shop for an hour or two, I'll just leave it tight. It's not every time I leave a cut that I loosen it off, but if I'm working for an hour or two, I'll leave it tight, but I won't leave it overnight. And so if I'm not using it, you know, until the next day, or I haven't used it for a couple of days, I loosen it right off for sure. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
How many of the folks that are here today have full-size bandsaw or tabletop? I just have a Ryobi tabletop, and it goes up to about 3 3/4 inches wood thickness. I wish I had a bigger one, but I'm just wondering what some of the other folks have here.
I have a Mastercraft, the smaller one.
Yeah,
And it suits me just fine. I don't have a lot of space for my workshop, so it's perfect for that.
Just to mention here that there are some that may have a 3-wheel bandsaw, which is the smaller type, or the 2-wheel bandsaw, which is the larger type usually. And it can go up to different sizes. One of the things that I have discovered by people sharing things with me is that if you don't get the 3-wheel adjusted right, you'll break more blades than you will on the 2-wheel. But also it's very important to get the bandsaw blade to track in the middle of the wheels.
The table on your bandsaw, it's really critical that everything is set up there. And so you want to make sure that it's level, it's not beveled at all. you also want to make sure that it's straight with the blade. So to Murray's earlier point, having that blade right in the center of that rubber wheel ensures that it's not towing in the blade or towing out. If it's at the front, it's going to tow in. If it's at the back of that rubber, it's going to tow out. And then once you do that, you do a test cut with a scrap piece of wood, and you should see that band saw running right up the center of that cut. So you should be able to shut off the bandsaw and run a piece of paper on either side of that bandsaw blade and have exactly the same clearance. If it's not exactly the same clearance, it means that the table is ajar, skewed one way or the other. And whenever you try to rip something, it will never rip in a straight line. It'll either get smaller and smaller or get wider and wider. So there's a lot to setting it up. Once you set it up, you can forget about it for years, you know, but that initial setup's really important. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, if something occurs to you later, then just raise it up. Okay, so Murray, we're going to go to the next agenda item here, news about the OWCA, and hand it over to you to do your thing, okay?
Sorry, Mark,
Yes.
can I ask a question? What
You
was
bet.
it that Murray was saying? What were you recommending in a brand for the bandsaw? We had the Craftsman, and it's never worked, and we're going to replace it, and I want to get the right one. What do
Some
you
other
recommend?
some other carvers that I've worked with have had the Craftsman, and one thing that tends to happen without too much time, the bearings will wear out on the wheels, the drive wheels. And so buying something that's going to cost a bit more will be better than you getting something that's really cheap. And so I think that those are just recommendations. Getting the two wheel, which means that the two wheel has, the bandsaw blade will be about 70 inches up to 80 plus inches in length. Where the smaller bandsaws that have the three wheels, they may be 40 inches, they may be 50. They're all different varieties. You have to know the length when you order a new bandsaw blade. And sometimes the bandsaw dealers, blade dealers, you just simply give them the number, or the kind of bandsaw you have, and they'll know for sure what it is. Because often we don't measure the bandsaw blade. We wait until it breaks, and then we go, oh, I gotta have a new one. I don't know if that helps you or not, but
Yeah,
That's,
sure. Thank you.
That's
Mark-
interesting, because I had the Craftsman. I could not work with it. It's a tabletop. I bought a used Ryobi, and it works beautifully. The wheels just track the blade in the center really well. And there's something about the resinous cover of rubber on the wheel that seems to help with keeping the blade there. Whereas my Craftsman was different, and it just would not hold the blade on there. Maybe I just couldn't use it properly and cutting an outline out, but I was so frustrated that I sold it. Hopefully the next guy can use it, but the small Ryobi I have got, just terrific.
Great. Yeah.
So you're recommending the Ryobi, and someone's recommended the Laguna and the Rikon. Any of those would be all right?
Rikon is an excellent bandsaw.
Rikon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, Francois, you had put on chat that you have the Laguna. You're very happy with that?
Yeah, but I'll say that's too recent to say
Oh,
anything relevant. But I'll say for what I've watched, I'll say with the the Rikon and the Laguna, I'll say they were kind of similar.
Mark,
And I think Francois, Laguna is a fairly expensive choice, though, isn't it? Also pretty expensive, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, so again, it's depending on what you want to spend. Now, I know Furtis and we have the same bandsaw, and it has, I think yours is King Canada or King Industrial. And I think the price is like $600-700 now. I bought mine several years ago.
No, so I bought it for 1,098.
Okay, so it's up quite a bit, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a nice unit. It's as Murray described, it's the two-wheel unit. It's I'm 5'8", so it's about, I think it's about 5'8" off the floor. It's it's a fairly good size. I'm happy with it for what I bought it for. I'm quite pleased with it. The maybe Fergus would speak on this too, but one of the downsides of it's a very heavy unit. Like the bigger bandsaw you have, if you're bringing it down your basement or something, like you need yourself and about 4 gorillas to help you. They're very, very heavy units. So, if you're not interested in setting up a really big piece of equipment, probably, some of the other ones that are maybe the 3-wheel unit or a smaller 2-wheel unit is what you're after, just from a weight aspect.
And it comes in pieces, so you have to kind of assemble it, set up the belt. So that took me some time. I've set it up in my garage right now, so that's where I plan to keep it. I also bought a mobile base to go underneath it. I haven't put the mobile base yet.
Good idea.
And then I got like a shop vac from King to just put it in the dust chute when I'm using it. So I haven't used it yet, but it's kind of setting it up.
Yeah.
Just
go ahead,
Mark,
Murray.
when you shared that you're making this cut and you slide paper beside the blade, I'm sorry, I couldn't do that. The bandsaw I have, I received it as a gift from somebody that used to have a workshop, like a metal workshop, and he used it in there. And that was 54 years ago. And he had used it since the Second World War when he set the shop up. And this thing is still cooking.
Oh, that's good. Perfect. Yeah.
It rattles a bit. I just don't cut real close to the line because I may.
Yeah.
I'm gonna carve it anyway. So it's kind of like a rough out bandsaw.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, go on. Just to be clear about that paper thing on each side of the blade to check whether it's tracking straight. Just to be clear, the bandsaw is not running, right? Like you don't do this with the blade running. It's after you've shut it down, you can check that clearance, okay? But the other thing I'll say is, like, if you go on YouTube and just look for bandsaw adjustments, there's all kinds of YouTube videos that you can watch that tell you how to adjust how much play so that the blade doesn't wobble between the guides, and that it gives you a beautiful cut, straight cut. How to in fact adjust the bed so that you're getting a straight cut against a rip fence and those kinds of things. All kinds of really good videos on YouTube to watch as well.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so let's so Murray, we're gonna let you do your thing here, okay?
Okay, well, thank you for each one of you that participate, and even the discussions that you have. If you can put the share screen down a minute, maybe I'll show up for the screen somehow.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this. Hold on. Here we go.
Stop.
There we go. Sorry about that.
No problem. We do our Zoom sessions together, and there's great information shared. And often when we're doing this, you'd like to go back and look at it. So we made the decision that we'd create a video shortly after we have our Zoom session. Right now, this is being recorded by Zoom. I take that video material that is produced and put it into a movie program, one called Movie Maker, which is free. It's to do with Windows, and produce the video from it. I try to put a title at the front is something that would be appropriate to the thing, but not too much information. But at the end, I put down the president's email. And that is because I may not always be president, but the video will always be there. So whoever's in that job is going to get loaded with a few emails, which I do. And what takes place is that right now we have 20 people here involved in our group tonight. We put the video up within about 1 to 2 weeks. The total number of views will go to 300 plus. Going back to the first video, I think the very first one we did on caricature carving, Mark, it was one that you had, we put your carving with I think maybe at the front of the thumbnail was the picture of the goal of the hockey player, and also the fellow that was whipping along on the railway car. Well, the other day I kind of was blown away when I looked at it. It's 3,800 that have looked at it.
Wow.
And so they're all on my video YouTube channel. So if you put my name in into YouTube, if you haven't done this already, you type my name when YouTube's open in the screen and put the word Murray Lincoln channel. You'll get most of the videos, but there's some that are not available because they were not included in that channel. I haven't figured out how to do that part yet, and may be able to morph it over, give it a title. But we're getting views from all over the world, and primarily coming from the USA, which is comical for me because where most of us go onto YouTube, we'll find a carver in the US and try to learn from him. Some of those top carvers are now joined in and want to have the information about what we're doing with caricature carving, which is kind of neat. Well, as we do this kind of thing, it's growing further. UK now wants to be a part of it. At least 6 states in the US have guys that have come to ask if they can become members of the Ontario Woodcarver Association. Mark and Kevin and I and different ones on the executive are going to be working on some of that shortly if we have a meeting. And we're going to be dealing with how we might do that. So their membership couldn't be like an OWCA membership. Our OWCA membership includes insurance policies and coverage that way. Plus it includes the magazine that we send out each quarter. And also it provides information about our up-to-date, what's happening with the Horizon email. And as it goes out, many people are interested. So we're looking at the possibilities of maybe having something online someday. Now, we don't want to mess it up having the printed copy because many of our members are not online. They like to have that printed copy in their hand, and they have the OWCA magazine 4 times a year. But as I say all of that, now what's happening is it goes out more information, and Mark actually receives some emails sometimes from the website. He forwards it to me. I received this email as we looked at it together, and it was the manager of a Marriott hotel up north in Ontario. This is up north of our area, which is about somewhere around, it's Perry Sound area and to the west a bit. You go up in 118 as if you're going to Sudbury, and then you make a turn somewhere near Cranberry Place. I can't describe it to you, but I'll give the information out. And they're looking to have carvers come to stay overnight and to demonstrate their carving at their facility. What they're doing is actually, they have quite a large number of people that come to their facility from all different walks of life, and from about December 17th on. And primary focus would be between December 26th and January 1st. There'll be many, many more people coming to their resort and spa that they hold. And so what happens is if they would have you, for instance, come and sit at a table inside and show your caricature carving and be carving on one and answer questions to people that come by. I did suggest in one Horizon email that you might like to sell something. Now, many of you don't sell, that you're not into that group, but there are some that would like to sell. And so we've seen the caricature carvers and other kinds of carvings that people have been sending to me, what they're doing. Someone picked up on that. They emailed me the information, include pictures of what they carve. And I'm assembling those to show the manager of the resort and spa. So the idea would be that we would have information for everybody coming to that site. Now, he was particularly interested in having chainsaw carvers come and do chainsaw carving outside. It makes a lot of noise, makes a lot of chips. And the second part of it, he was interested in wondering if some of us have ever done ice carving. That would also be very interesting to the guests to see how it's done. So they might not buy that great big bear that you carve, or they could if you had a bunch of smaller bears. And think about it, how you might market these. You could also get commissions. And so these people are coming from all over Ontario. And I think it's a tremendous opportunity for us to expose the Ontario Woodcarver Association. Now, I mentioned December 17th and on, with a bigger lump between Christmas and New Year's, but he's looking at going for this to January, February, March, particularly, right through the winter, and featuring maybe 1 or 2 carvers at a time. So if you are a single carver and your wife doesn't want to go, perhaps you can talk to a carver in your carving club, and the two of you go up and share a room. And having a room at this spa and resort will likely say to your wife that maybe that other fellow won't be able to go because she'd want to go. It's a pretty nice place, and they're going to provide food for you too.
Wow.
So it's really quite a big package that they're offering, and they're very excited about us being involved. During last summer, they did feature some local artists up in that area to come and do painting on site around the grounds. And if everything works out, I'm not sure it's going to happen, but my wife Alita and I may go up next week to take a look, because he's after me to come. When can you come? When can you come? So we'll see what happens. I'm watching weather. I don't like a lot of snow. We're getting right into the time for around that area. It's Muskoka Woods area, that lake. It's a beautiful lake up there, and is something that you might like to be involved in. So as I say that, if you go back and look at the Horizon email that I outlined all of this, you simply need to respond to me and say, I'd like to be involved. Here's some pictures of my carvings. And I've suggested it be like a juried show, meaning that we don't just want something that is kind of awkward and maybe not the best looking. We're looking for some people that have gone through John and Mark Sheridan's carving classes and produced some excellent kind of carvings. So I said juried show because the juried show, as you well know, that as you submit your carving, a group of people will look at it and say, we want this one and this one, but not that one. And so it just is a little higher class. So just simply hearing from you would be very important on that part. Now, personally, I've been using YouTube videos for a long time. Going back maybe as much as 20 years now. I've had videos 2007, I guess it was maybe not quite 2000, not quite 20 years, but as I put the videos up, it's amazing who comes. One thing I do for the local heritage programs is I operate a spring pole lathe. It has a lathe bed with a piece that you're working on it and a rope tied around that piece, and the pole that's beside you is flexed down and back up again. And that happens by you pushing your foot on that rope or that string on a pedal down below. And the interest was so great as it caught on some of those videos. I think they have 95,000 now have viewed them. So it's got a lot of attraction, and so much of attraction that one day the International Wood Association that hosts something like a Miss America, Miss World competition in wood contacted me and asked if I would come with my wife to fly down to Long Beach, California, and be there at their great big wood symposium kind of thing for 10 days. And we stayed on the Queen Mary when we did that. What an opportunity. It was amazing. And you meet hundreds of people. Now they came from all over the world, all speaking different languages. And the fellow that owns this owns one of the biggest plywood companies in the world. He's one of the ones that saw the videos and said, we need this. And so what he did was he hired people from each country where the carvers are coming from, or the wood, the lathe operators are coming from. And he provided a translator for each person into English from their native language. So it's a tremendous opportunity. So what I'm saying to you is about you demonstrating and showing what you do. Don't be afraid of it. Get on board, give it a try. Set up a YouTube channel and start telling people about what you do. And people will come to look just the way you've gone to look at YouTube to get help from all the different carvers that we know and we help in that area. So I think that's as much as I'm going to say, Mark, is it's an opportunity. I'd love to hear from you if you're interested. Now, it's not just caricature carving, it's relief carving. There's two people, I think, now that are interested in coming to show their pyrography. And there are some that would like to do something really big, totem poles and so on. There's something that's going to happen in that area. So it wouldn't mean that if you come on a certain week during January, the person that does the same kind of work that you do will not probably come then, but they'll come the next week or the week before. And the clientele will be revolving also. So it's just a brand new opportunity for OWCA to get involved and do this. Now, I mentioned, I started to say that it's not just for our time this winter up to March. but they're looking at having us come during the summertime and carve outdoors and be a part of the resort and spa kind of thing. And they have many people come. Now, this manager, he kind of tantalized me a bit, and he says, Murray, these people love to spend money. They're on vacation, and they not only love to spend money, but they have lots of money. This is not the church bazaar in your community, say a church bazaar sale, and not the local kind of lick 'em and stick 'em kind of things from Hong Kong that somebody tries to sell next to you when you've carved all these wonderful things. This is an opportunity that's bigger than we've ever seen before. Now I'm going to stop with that and just say one more thing. Coming up in the next magazine, it seems like every year some kind of a project will come up for the Ontario Woodcarver Association to be involved in. As some of you may remember that we were involved, some of us, some of the carvers in the Pickering area, I think, and roughly in that region down just east of Toronto, they did a large relief carving for Honda's 50th year in Canada. We weren't quite sure what's going to happen the next year until a man contacted us and asked, do you have carvers that could carve and produce a coffee table for me? I want to give it to my wife for a Christmas present. Well, this was not just a small coffee table. And he wanted on that coffee table, the carving would be a tree. And on the tree is a relief carving, a face of himself, his wife, their son, and their daughter, with all the leaves up above. You'll see it when it comes in the magazine. It's totally amazing. So we have excellent carvers like Neil Cox, for instance, who doesn't use the clay models. He does something called Blender and a few other programs on the computer where he builds the actual coffee table, the look of it, and then he sends it to the customer to take a look. If they want to make a change, he can make a change. So we're sure blessed to have Neil Cox in our group. And I won't tell you what the exact amounts are, but I don't know. But what happens is that this person was not looking for somebody to do something for $1,000 to $2,000. His budget was much, much larger than that. And we were able to really bless Neil Cox with that, and our OWCA will get a kickback on that also by it all. So that's enough, Mark. That's a long spiel.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So that sounds like a really great opportunity. The other thing that I'm just going to give you 5 minutes on is anything you know about upcoming shows, but I'm going to start with Zenon. Zenon, if you want to come off a mute with that good looking guy you're with and just talk to us about your plans in Kitchener.
You got to turn yourself on.
There you go. You're on.
There, I'm on. Am I on now?
Yep, you are.
Normally, good evening, gentlemen and ladies. Normally we have carving on Thursday night, but tonight, unexpected babysitting job. So I'm here and I thought I had a chance to get on. Anyway, we in Grand Valley Woodcarvers in Kitchener, we have started carving. We've been carving 3 or 4 weeks now. We're doing cardinals. Everything's doing quite well. And we do have our show coming up in June of next year. We've had to cancel the last 2 years. And it's a Canadian National Wildfowl and Wood Art Carving Competition. Biggest, well, we consider it the biggest duck and bird carving competition in Canada. Might be bigger in British Columbia, I'm not sure. And the wood part show is pyrography, you know, the caricatures, the animals, and whatever else. And we've taken over that from a group called the Owl's Nest, who ran it over the last 30 years. We were all ready to go 2 years ago and we got canceled. So it's like a new venture for us again. We could use volunteers. I've also offered the competition to the Ontario Woodcarvers a couple times. I've sent emails out, but it's a big undertaking. And but our group is getting older. Our average age in our group is well over 70, and I don't know how much longer we can do everything. So anyway, the show is going to be June 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 2022 at Rim Park in Waterloo. And we are going to be accepting carvings from 2019, 20, and 21, because there's a lot of carvings that never did get entered. One of the features we have this year, our purchase awards, we have a $3,000 purchase award for a pair of hummingbirds, $4,000 purchase award for a hunting duck, a trio, three ducks. That'll be $4,000 purchase award. $600 champagne ducks, a pair of champagne ducks. And something else I forgot. Sorry about that. There's another one, but it's on our website, Canadian National.
Okay, that's great. And it's a very good show. I've been there many, many times, and it's really a well done show. So if anybody can make it, put that on your calendar. Thanks, Zenon. Now, Murray, have you heard? Have you had any input in any other shows on the horizon?
The one show that is a definite is in May. I think it was in the email that I sent out the dates exactly. And they're up at they're a Y Marsh group, they're called, in which this, if you can remember, is Midland area roughly. And their club area, the building they're in, is right next door to Ste. Marie among the Huron. And I was thinking about Kevin Reed is on this list tonight. He might well be going up to something like this for sure, because he's got interests up there. Okay. And that's the only one that I know right now. I think that maybe the Brooklyn Carvers and possibly the Kawartha group, they're thinking of doing it. But again, we're just edgy about the whole COVID thing. Just about the time you're ready to plan it, COVID comes along and said, not now. So by the time we get to New Year's, I think we'll see better what's going to happen. So that's as much as I can offer, Mark.
Okay, thank you, Murray. Any questions for Murray or Zenon? Okay, thanks, guys. We do have the showcase of projects, but John, I think we're going to go to the shop tour just to make sure that you have time to get through that, and then we can come back to the projects, okay? John, you with us? If you are, you'll...
Yes, I am.
Okay, so if you can see the screen here, John, I've got a couple of the photographs that you sent me. And so I'll let you speak to these, and then I'll stop the share screen, and you'll have to share screen from your end, okay?
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just, there's the cement pad that we poured, and we're just starting to build the frame and framing up the back wall. There's the sidewall, all the tieback. I put a greenhouse in the front. So it's 16 feet by 3 feet, 3.5 feet is the front of the building, is a greenhouse. And we're putting the siding on, and there's a side door, and I put a 6x5 garage door just for the lawnmower to come in to do the oil change and stuff. And there's the 4 windows across the front. I've recently replaced those with brand new windows, or they were my storm windows for my house.
Nice. So those are the only photographs I have, John?
Okay.
Of the ones that that you sent me. So let's continue on, and we'll talk about the showcase of projects, and John will come back in a minute here. Okay. All right. So can everybody see John's earlier carving here? You guys still there?
Yeah, looks good. I can see it.
Okay. Okay. All right, so Furtis, this is the start of the carving that you showed us last time around, and you sent us a couple more pictures. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I didn't use a bandsaw for this one. I just kind of used a knife, and it was challenge. The challenges that I faced was, if you can see in the pattern, I have a small thumb there, but when I started removing wood, somehow I chipped the thumb out. So then I decided not to put the thumb back in. I just kind of made it look like a glove. And the other challenge I had was when I was carving between the legs to part the legs, that was pretty challenging. I did have to use a little bit of sandpaper between the legs to smooth some rough edges. But other than that, like, it was okay. I kind of learned quite some few things by carving this guy.
Looks really good, Brutus. Looks really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So John, you're back. I'll just say, John, we're having a heck of a time keeping you on. So maybe we'll work on that, and maybe next time we'll try the video again. Okay. So you can come off mute if you want, John. I can't hear you.
Okay, do you hear me now?
Yeah, I do. And so we'll just go
Okay.
through these projects then, and then next time we'll try again for the shop tour. Okay.
It's really windy here. I don't know if that affected the Wi-Fi or nothing, but it's
Yeah.
really windy here.
Yeah, maybe. So Furtis, I think this looks really good. I think all the shots that you sent us, I think that looks really terrific. I see you kind of followed John's lead on the eyes, and you've got the upper and lower eyelid there. I think that looks really terrific. You made the point about using sandpaper between the legs, and that's not surprising, right? Because the grain is going up and down like this, isn't it? And so you're really fighting with the end grain, trying to cut that out. And unless you're lucky, and certainly you'd need a very, very sharp knife to get at those things, you're going to end up having little fibers in there. You used sandpaper. Sometimes what I do is I just go in with the flat side of a wood burner, and I just burn lightly away all of those wood fibers, and it makes it nice and smooth as well. So that might be something you want to think about next time as well.
Yeah, I have to buy a wood burner. I don't have one yet. So
There, well, you'll have to maybe sell that bandsaw so you can afford one, eh? No, that looks really good for us. You did a real nice job on that.
thank you.
I just got one comment about sandpaper. When you use sandpaper, and then you use your knife on and again, there's a little bit of sand particles in the wood. You're going to dull the knife. So be careful. If you're going to sand it, don't go back with a knife, because you're going to dull your knife.
Good thought.
That's good advice, John. Thank you.
Good.
Okay, Dave, you followed John's lead in developing
Nice.
this guy. Yeah, real nice.
Yeah.
Dave, you want to say a few words about that?
Yeah, I don't normally follow a pattern directly, but this time I tried to do that. But it's got a long head and a short body, but it still came out not too bad. But I couldn't help myself. I had a stick in the mouth and some texture in the fur, but
Yeah.
we got her done anyway. A little bit late, but we got it done. That's about it.
John will want to comment on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's very good. It's a good exaggerated nose. It's a caricature of a Santa Claus. It's really good.
Yeah.
Nice skin tone.
Yeah, I think you nailed the nose. I mean, the nose
Yeah.
is just terrific. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice eyes.
Thank you.
Well done. Okay, Murray, you sent in a few pictures here, and so why don't you say a few words about that? Murray's still on the line. Well, maybe Murray is not on the line any longer. I'm looking for Murray Hinter here. No, I don't think he's on with us any longer. No. Okay, really good job. Murray did a really good job here, I think. Again, you know, it's clearly following John's lead on this. I think it's a really good job.
Yeah.
And did a little bit of a stocking as well. So similar to the stocking that I was showing you guys about, and that looks terrific. Just put a little hook on the back and put it on the Christmas tree. Good job on both of those, I thought.
Yeah.
John Paul, these are yours.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I did Mark's stocking. I did that this afternoon.
Yeah.
And it worked out really good. Turned out really, really, really well.
The nice thing about it is it's a quick little carving.
Yeah, it took me like 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Whale of a job on the whales there too, John.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Whale of a job.
Whale of a job. Good job. Okay, this is one that I did. I did another stocking. I was with the Kingston Carving Club the other day and just showing them how to do these stockings. So I did that one. The thing on the right, I don't think I've showed you guys those, or we wouldn't have talked about it because we weren't together on these Zoom calls last year at Christmas. But these are sweaters that John actually introduced me to. And John saw it on YouTube from a very good carver by the name of Doug Linker. And if you look up Doug Linker on YouTube, he has a number of different tutorials, if you want, like these. And these are a lot of fun to do. And so take a look at Doug's YouTube. If you have any questions, you can just send me an email and I'll send you the little pattern I used for these. I just drew it up really quickly based on Doug's tutorial, but awful lot of fun to do. They're very simple from a carving standpoint. They're probably about 3/16 inch or maybe 5/16 inch in thickness. You know, basically you're rounding the edges after it comes off of the bandsaw or a scroll saw, doing a little bit of carving to give it a bit of texture of wrinkles. I used, you know, just a pencil to draw in the outline of all of the colorful ornaments you see there. And then I wood burned that outline. And again, you'll recall John and I telling you about using acrylic paints and using that wood burner to create a little valley that stops the paint from bleeding into the next color. So I did that. And then my wife Peggy did all the painting, and she did a beautiful job on it. And I should also mention that the hooks are nothing more than just household copper wire, just twined together, 2 holes drilled on either side of the shoulders, and it fits in there. Before drilling it or before fitting it in there and epoxy it in there, I just blasted it with Rust-Oleum clear black or clear gloss black paint, and it makes a nice little ornament. I'll warn you though that it's addictive. So Peggy and I think last year made something like 35 of these things, and had a lot of fun doing it. All of our family members got one. We made some other ones that were in the shape of like a baby sleeper. So for the people who had just had a new baby that year, they received one that said mom on the back of it and dad on the back of another one, and then one with the baby sleeper, and that was a big hit. The other thing I did is, many of you know my son, Paul, who has an intellectual disability. I had him draw a picture of a snowman. It's not this particular snowman, but in his own fashion, draw a snowman. And I transposed that drawing onto one of these things and then went around it with the wood burning tool, and Peggy painted it. And now he has a sweater with his own drawing on. So you might think of your own children or grandchildren that might want to give you a little drawing that you can transpose onto the sweater. It's a lot of fun. Give it a try. Mike, you sent us this one last time, and this is your, I think you called him Mr. Tilly, didn't you? And you sent us the finished version.
That's right. Yeah, I just did a little coloring, tried to follow the idea of using that wax with the oils in it to create a little bit of highlight, and made him a redhead with green eyes. And I was challenged on the hat a little bit there. I fortunately put it up against a bright light to find out that the brim was getting so thin I could see it almost translucent through the front.
Yeah.
So thank goodness I stopped in time. Otherwise, we're gonna have a hole in his Tilly hat brim.
Yeah.
But anyway, it worked out reasonably well. You'll probably be a bottle stopper at the end.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, good eyes.
really good eyes. So one of the things I remember talking about last time, Mike, was we talked about this area here could be kind of dug in a little bit more to make the eye a little flatter. And so you can see the, I think that's a real improvement. I think that you followed that suggestion that John or I made. I can't recall who made it, but it really improved the carving. You did a real nice job.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you actually can tell that I really did try to follow your idea. I don't know if I got it in quite far enough, but anyway.
Oh, no, I think it looks really good. The other thing we talked about, that I'll just bring to people's attention is, it's a little difficult because of the shadow here, but we thought that, there was an edge here at the front of the ear that was preventing the ear from looking like it was really protruding. And I see you took that away, and it really made a difference. I think, you took that edge away. By taking that lower edge away, it automatically makes this outer edge come out more like that car door that you're looking for. I think it's a really good job.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I did actually look back in the mirror to see that. Yeah, you're actually right.
That's good. Not that Mr. Tilley looks like you at all, Mike.
Yeah, well, I've been known to wear one every once in a while, but
yeah.
My wife gives me hell.
And you sent this one in as well, and it's really nicely done.
Oh, thank you. There's a story there. The club wanted me to teach them skinny Santas. So that actually was our third meeting of the, post-COVID, you could even say, maybe, kind of. Anyway, so, the club's meeting, Thunder Bay Carvers, and they wanted me to do skinny Santas. So we did a simple one from one of the early Fox Chapel patterns. And then I thought, well, at every meeting, you've got people with all different abilities. So I wanted to just sort of make a tougher one. So I designed this guy and made him just a little more difficult. The other one had the hat down so you couldn't see the eyes and so on. And, not many details. So I tried to make more details. And so my handouts are covering that kind of thing. So this guy is one that mostly just dreamed up myself.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So the, just a little feedback that might be helpful to you. When I look at this picture, I can see some striations here.
Right.
And I can see some striations there. And so when I get that on my carvings, I know immediately that my knife isn't carving. Because the grain is going this way in this particular caricature.
Yeah.
What's happening is you're wedging the knife in and the wood is just splitting along the grain. And so that's just a telltale thing that is, I think, useful to everybody on the Zoom call here, is when you see those kinds of things happening, the only way to get rid of them is to sharpen your knife. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Good idea.
Okay. Really good carving though. Now, Murray Lincoln. I got a couple of slides on this one. I got this one, Murray, and I've got this one.
Okay, what does Santa do on a day off? He feeds the birds. So the attempt, first off, was to follow Jean-Paul and your suggestions in making my face. We can show it a little bit, or there's other close-ups later on. And the comical part is, for me, is that the Santa is carved out of a body of a bird that was going to be a bird carving. I explained that from before. And so I put birds with him. And I've got a couple of three different kinds of birds sitting in his hands. And in his hand, on his right hand, he's got seeds in there. So he's feeding the birds. You go to the next picture. And one of the things I did on this, getting my flesh tones that I wanted, the colors that I wanted, was to do a base color first. And then with something like a burgundy, a dry brush applied to it on certain areas. So by taking the what do you call it, the paint, and having a rich amount that you have on when you dip your brush into it, you wipe your brush onto a paper towel and try it a couple of times, and you'll find it being just about perfect as far as the brushing, the highlights, especially on the nose, the cheeks, and so on. And this guy is really old, so he tried to make his face drawn. His cheeks are not nice and rosy and puffy. He's an old Santa. Now his head turns, his head separate from the body, and he also turns on the base. It has a dowel underneath. Now, in this particular picture, maybe just go ahead a couple of pictures to see if you have the larger one.
This is actually the last picture I have here.
Okay, what happens is you can see on the left-hand picture is my hand holding the dowel that's his neck. When I started to work on this, I leave an extra amount of wood down below the head. And that's so I don't cut myself, but it's also something to hold on to. And his head was almost twice the size in length. When I tried to put it on the body that I carved, it looks just positively ridiculous. So I carved away underneath the chin. So the chin and the lower part of the beard on the shoulders fits nicely on top of the Santa's body. So it was a little bit of doctoring after I was done with that.
That's good.
And this is about 1.25 inches by 1.25 inches, not the 2-inch size.
So just to follow up on that, Murray, that's where I would have used that lead pencil deal. So, you know, I'm sure you got this fitting really nicely to the top of the body. But I would have put the lead as well on the body and then screwed the head in and then started just taking away a little bit on the bottom wherever the lead showed up to show high spots. That's the way that I've done that in terms of parking the head right squarely on the shoulder, you know. Okay, that's really good. Now, Murray, so this is the last photo or the caricature that was sent in that I can show you tonight in terms of projects. So thanks for everybody for doing that. And in just a minute, I'm going to talk to you about this notion about having a little show and competition and just virtual show and competition just based on photos. And so, Murray, I wanted you to just say a couple words on how you took this photo, because it's a good quality photo and you used a background that really contributed to seeing the caricature. And it's something we will all want to consider if we want to do this virtual show and send in photos. So just talk a little bit about how you took the photo.
I invested in a simple plastic fold-up box or cube that is around about 18 inches across, 18 inches deep. And when you get it, it comes in the flat portion comes from like Amazon. We bought it from there. And when you put the thing up, then inside of the white, it's a white plastic surface inside, there's a place to fasten in the different color sheets that you have. So it comes along with about 8 different colors, red and yellow and blue and brown, and there's a whole lot of different things. But with his whiteness and his redness, the black seemed to work the best. So you can, as you put it together, it hooks, the thing connects up to a USB port. And there's a switch on it that you turn it on with. And you can also reduce the light or make the light brighter. Mm-hmm. So it's a maybe about a $30 to $40 investment. It was probably the best thing I ever bought. Mm-hmm. And so it really is a good way to present it. And the other one with Kevin Reed's prompting, I was able to buy one of those little rotary things it's operated by light as well as with the battery, and it makes your carvings go around in circles. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty powerful to show the things off, even at a show to have these things rotating. So Kevin's contribution to me, I ended up buying 4 of them, and they really work.
Murray, what was the name of the product, the first one, the box?
I can send that out in an email. I can get, I don't know what it is right now, but it's if you look photography on a Google search, box to place your carvings or something into it, it comes up with all kinds of suggestions. But warning to you, once you ask Google for something, you will be bombarded with everything you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, you can find a lot of those kits on Amazon too, variety of prices. So I think the photograph itself, the carving's great. The photograph is really, really good. Another way to get at this that I've used in the past that almost achieves what Murray achieved here in the photograph is just to go to Staples or something and get some black bristle board, not the gloss one, because that'll reflect. There's a matte black bristle board, and you can put the bristle board behind your carving and curl it underneath the carving, and then take your photograph with the lights in front of it. And I've had probably pretty good results, maybe not as good as the result Murray got in this, but pretty good results by putting that that bristle board behind, because it is flexible, putting it behind and under the carving to take a picture. And the nice thing about having the background like Murray has here is that there's nothing attracting your eye other than the carving. So there's, there's not the kids playing in the background or the wood chips in the background or whatever. You have to focus right on the carving. So I just thought I'd point that out to you, because the next thing we want to talk about, in fact, is this notion of if we'd all be interested, and the others that aren't on the call, the 30 that aren't on.
Mark, I'll just interject here that Michael's also sells the kind of rubber material, the same kind as I have when I bought this, as well as large pieces of felt.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah.
both of those have many colors, and it really is a compliment to what your carving is. You try to choose the right color.
Right. Okay, that's good. Well, again, thanks everybody for the photos you sent in. Really good, and I hope that the work that John's been doing and the little bit of work that I've been doing have been helping you improve your carvings. They really look good. In the last few minutes here, I just want to share one more time here with you this presentation, and just go to the last chart, the notion about this show and friendly competition. So we have, as an OWCA, Ontario Woodcarvers Association, tried to promote a virtual wood carving competition and show last year at about this time, and it went pretty well. We opened it up to all different types of carving, and we had a lot of fun with it. I think people generally had fun with it, and we learned a lot in the process. The one thing that we went into it thinking, and what I'd like to propose to you guys, if you're interested in doing a show and competition, is it's got to be fun. Kevin Reed will tell you, as our show director, that and Zenon's on the line here tonight, putting on a show is fun, but it's a lot of work for a few people as well. So what we want to do is something simple here, and something that's going to be fun for us to work on. And so here are a few thoughts to get you thinking, and then I'll just kind of open it up for a quick discussion. The notion would be entering up to 2 carvings, caricature carvings, from say 2021 and 2022, and we'd have 3 classes: novice, intermediate, and open. And so we'd have to individually judge, geez, do I want to enter this as a novice, as an intermediate, a carver that's been at a show before, or an open, a carver that's been at many shows before and has won awards. And again, it's all about doing a very simple, fun show and a competition, but a friendly competition. The idea would be to get started on something, or decide on the carvings that you want to enter, that you've already completed in 2021, and show our work in process photos at our December meeting, our January meeting, our February meeting. The idea being this would be a good opportunity to kind of critique what we're looking at, but also to give suggestions. If it's something that you're working on currently, John and I will be there to give you a few suggestions so that your carving can be the best that it can be for the final judging. And the final judging would take place, and a critique on our Zoom call would take place in March. And we'd provide a first, second, and third True North Caricature Carving certificate as a result in each one of those classes: novice, intermediate, and open. And so the certificate would be produced. Murray does a really great job of producing these certificates, so we'll get him to help us with that, and you'll receive a certificate in the mail if you're a first, second, or third place winner in novice, intermediate, and open. We'll also put the photos on the Ontario Woodcarvers Association website and in the Ontario Woodcarver magazine to just, again, promote your carving, but also promote what we're trying to do with the True North Caricature Carvers, and hopefully attract more people into it. And for those people that are watching this on Zoom and they're not a True North Caricature Carver member, but like to be part of the show, great, join us. Just send me your name and email address, and we'll have you join our Zoom calls, And hopefully this attracts more people into to joining us and to trying caricature carving. So anyways, I'm just going to stop the share there and just open it up for a quick discussion. Is this something you kind of give thumbs up to that you'd be interested in doing? Or is it something that you'd rather not do?
Personally, I think it's a great idea. I really do.
Yeah, okay, good.
There's a lot of us out there that maybe just need a little encouragement to show some of their work. And we've been doing that with these Zoom meetings, and I think that's super. But to push it a little further on into a bit of a friendly competition, I think it's a great idea.
Good.
Wouldn't mind giving it a try.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Great.
Yeah, I would be interested, Mark.
Okay, good. Well, if we have people that would be interested in giving it a try, and you just want to send me an email with ideas you might have that we can incorporate in this, we'll give it a try. I'd be a little bit disappointed if only 6 of us are interested in it. I hope that you know, a large proportion of the 50 of us are interested in it, so that we really get an opportunity to have a show without getting in the car and traveling in winter months type of thing. So let me know what you think. Just send me an email a little bit later. And if you have some ideas how we'd go about doing it, we're open to all those ideas. Okay. So that's kind of the end of our show. John, I'm so sorry that that the video or that the camera didn't work for us tonight, but we're going to include that in our next session. Okay.
How about if I just send pictures?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Or we could all just travel out to Nova Scotia, whichever.
Well, there you go.
prefer.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got room.
Is the shop heated?
Yes, it is.
That's all we need to know. Okay, thanks, folks. Any parting
Thanks,
comments?
everyone.
Okay,
Thank you.
have a great week carving, and I hope to hear from you in regard to potential of that show. Okay, so thanks very much for joining us.